with regard to the Obamacare program, why is Healthcare.gov working? Turns out, I was pointing out that I've been through several conspiracy theories now, and I think I've finally figured out what's going on. Not that any of the theories that I had before didn't make a certain amount of sense. Number one, that some states were not setting up their own exchanges, and so the federal government got stuck with the job, and that's not really what they signed on for originally. They were going to be a Google-like portal and just send you out to the states, but now they're doing it for 36 states. That still makes sense to me. But do you remember Rego 1 and Rego 2? Rego 1, you probably don't. These were during the Clinton administration. Rego 1 and Rego 2 were an initiative that Bill Clinton called Reinventing Government. And this did not start with Bill Clinton. This started with Ronald Reagan. The brand name Reinventing Government started with Bill Clinton, and Clinton was very enthusiastic about this. But it really started with Reagan, this idea that government workers can't do things well. Now, what's really driving this is that government workers are typically union workers. Right now, there are about 1/3 fewer people who work for the federal government today than there were the day that Ronald Reagan left office. And yet, our economy has grown by, I think about a quarter. Our population has certainly grown. Government has, the job that government does has grown, and our federal budget has grown. So what happened to those workers? Well, it turns out that they got outsourced. People, I can tell you a story. Somebody I know who was a computer programmer working for a state. And, this is somebody I know quite well, who was working for a state and making a reasonable salary with pension and benefits, state worker, unionized, the whole thing. Republican governor comes in, all of a sudden, him and all his friends in his programming pod get laid off and then hired the next day by a company that's been started by a buddy of the governor's. And their pay is pretty much the same, maybe a little bit less. Their benefits aren't as good. But the buddy of the governor is charging far more than they're being paid for their services. It turns out that this whole reinventing government thing, Clinton cut 17% of the federal workforce in his 8 years and bragged about it, was quite proud about it. So we've moved at least 300,000 jobs out of the public sector, which has a 36% union membership rate, into the private sector, 6.6%, which gets us to Healthcare.gov. Healthcare.gov is screwed up because it was outsourced. It was sent out to a whole bunch of private contractors who are skimming all this money off the top. They should have done it the way that NASA, put a man on the moon, or the Manhattan Project. You build a team within the government.